Hey yo, what's good reader fam? Welcome back to my channel. I hope you're doing swell. Today I'm bringing you a Q&A. I haven't done one in a hot minute and I thought that I would answer some burning questions. And it burns. Except none of these questions are on fire. Please, somebody get that reference. I went over on my Instagram at jessethereader if you want to follow me. Here's my feed. Look at it. It's beautiful, right? It's not as aesthetic as everybody else's, but that's okay. It's my own aesthetic. I asked you guys to ask me some juicy questions, except I did not. I just asked for some Q's for me to A. And that's exactly what I'm gonna do. So without further ado, let me answer your Q's. If you were a sweatshirt, would you be a hoodie or a zip up? What a complicated question. I feel like I would often have my feelings hurt if I were a zip up hoodie, because honestly, if somebody is tired of wearing you, all they gotta do is a quick zip and a little shrug, and boom, you're a goner. Whereas hoodies, where you have to pull them off over your head, are a little more complicated to get rid of, a little harder to get off. So I'll be a hoodie without a zipper, that way it's harder to get rid of me. But I promise I'll be nice and cozy so you don't wanna get rid of me. If you were a dog, what kind would you be? I found out about this dog recently that I became obsessed with, and it's a full-on fluff of a dog. And if I didn't already have Mr. Oakley, I'd for sure be breaking down and spending all my money trying to get my hands on it. It's called a Chow Chow. What a perfect name for a dog breed. Why aren't more dog breeds called things like Chow Chow? Like, I want dog breed names like Fluff Fluff, or Bone Dog, or Demon Doggo, aka the dog that I would avoid. Anyway, I need a Chow Chow at some point in my lifetime. I hope that I'm able to get my hands on one and have it as a pet, because I need that fluff in my life. Need my life to be fluffed up. If anyone has a Chow Chow and wants to give them to me, I'll take them. What would I even name a dog like that though? Like, that is some pressure to name a cute dog like that. Like, can I just name it Chow or Fluffy Monster? Because that's exactly what it is. What's your favorite way to de-stress? Lately it's just been in bed watching Korean variety shows, something that just doesn't take too much effort to think through. Some of my favorites are Running Man and Ask Us Anything. I also have been falling down the TikTok hole lately, but I always end up feeling super hecka guilty after spending like an hour on it. Mostly because I usually mean to hop on the app for like maybe 5 minutes, and then it's like an hour later and I'm like, how did I get here? And how do I get that hour back? Can I have it back, please? It's just so easy to waste time on TikTok because you just get so caught up in it. Which I know that saying where it's like, if you're having fun with your time, it's not wasted. That's not the exact quote, it's more wise than that, but you get the gist. But I still feel major guilt when I lose track of time on TikTok. Which places in Japan would you like to visit next? I really want to go to this area called Akihabara, which is like anime central. I missed the opportunity to go on my last trip to Japan, and I'm an anime stan, and I feel like that area was made for me. I say anime stan, but when was the last time I even watched an anime? I don't even remember. It's been a minute. I also just really want to go back once they've opened the Studio Ghibli theme park that they have in the works, because I know that it'll full on blow my mind, and it'll make me want to live in the world of Ghibli. I think it'd also just be nice to go into like a hidden area in Japan, a place that's not really talked about or a place that's not really popular. I kind of want to just take a trip where I just take a backpack and just get lost in Japan. Honestly, why have I not moved to Japan yet? Somebody get me a job in Japan, please. Why are you adamant in the fact that you won't read Twilight? I just honestly do not have the desire to read those books. My desire tank is empty. I've seen all the movies minus the last one. I don't think I'll ever watch the last one. And no shade or no tea or anything like that, but I didn't love the movies and they didn't make me want to read the books, which I know that's saying where it's like books are better than the movie, but like, I don't care to find out if that's true for the Twilight series. I just have no interest in reading the books. But hey, if you love reading about those shiny vampires, do what you want. It just makes sense to me to spend my time actually reading books that I want to read, you know? If you were forced to live in the world of one of your most hated books, which would you pick? Most hated books. What even is one of my most hated books? I'm blanking on everything right now. I feel like I've gotten rid of so many of my most hated books that now it's hard to like recall what they even are. The second I unhauled them, they were evicted from my mind. I didn't love Fairest, but I do love that world. Is that a cop-out? It's definitely a cop-out. But I'm going with it. I'm boarding that ship. I just have to avoid Lavana at all costs because I'm not about to deal with her evilness. That's a big ol' no thank you for me. I feel like we don't talk enough about how evil Lavana is. The fact that she can glamour herself and make you think differently of her. How she can essentially control you and force you to do things. She's scary. I feel like I'd just be playing a game of hide and seek while living on that world. Except I wouldn't want to be seeked. I just want to hide from Lavana. What do you think about book TikTok and the BookTok community in general? I haven't really explored BookTok, but I'm sure that it's great. I'm surprised that it's never popped up on my For You page at all. Apparently my For You page doesn't know me at all. Actually, scratch that. I did have a TikTok pop up of a girl crying over We Were Liars, and I was like, ooh, I feel that. Trust me, I know what you're going through. Maybe I should do some searching on TikTok so that way I'm exposed to the world of BookTok. Any platform where you're sharing your love for books is sure to be a solid thing. thing. I feel like book TikTok has to be challenging though because of the time limit, and I would find that constraint really hard to deal with. Because your boy over here talks too much. It's because I have nobody to talk to. Do any of you remember when my videos used to be short? Ah, those were the days. Straight to the point, concise. How do you BookTok creators do it? What weird food combinations do you love and enjoy? I don't know if this will sound weird to anyone, but I love ranch dressing on veggie burgers. It might sound gross, but it is delicious to me. But I'm also a person who will almost put ranch on anything. Keyword, almost. Not about to put ranch on ice cream. Not about to vom. I also once used guacamole on my salad because I was out of ranch dressing and it low-key slapped. Would do it again if I was in a pickle like that. What are your fears when it comes to starting a new book? I think for me, one of my fears, or something that I struggle with the most, is going into a fantasy book and just not comprehending the world very well. This has happened time and time again for me because I'm not a very big-brained person. The brain up there is a little on the smaller side. It has a difficult time comprehending things sometimes. It's okay, little brain, I still love you. It's always a struggle for me when the world building feels like a chore. Like, hello, I came here to relax. I didn't come here to get confused as heck. I will say though that I am the kind of person that kind of needs to be spoon-fed the elements of the world. I'm not really good at just like jumping in and like having things kind of click over time. Like, I need the deets and I need the deets stat. I also just find it daunting going into fantasy books because they're just a lot of hard work. You basically have to go through a crash course in order to understand everything. And sometimes it can be a lot depending on how it's written. So to all you fantasy readers who read a new fantasy book each week, mad respect. I could never get on your level. Have you ever counted your books? If so, how many do you have? I definitely have in the past, but it's been a while. And I don't want to do it because if I do it, it'll make me be like, oh, I have a lot of unread books. This is stressful. How am I gonna read all of these books? And that is unnecessary stress that I will not put on my plate. Out of sight, out of mind. Why do you think people are reading less and less these days? TikTok. Why read when you can spend countless hours scrolling through social media? I think attention spans have honestly become smaller because of social media, but I would argue that lots of people are still reading. Maybe not as much as everybody in the bookternet community, but that's okay because we are not normal beings. We are book beasts who have chosen the life of devouring books. We eat books for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and any little moment in between where we can fit reading meals in. Why don't you enjoy romance in books? Maybe it's because it reminds me of how single I am. It's not that I don't like romance in books, it's just that I'm the pickiest pickle when it comes to the execution of romance in books. It doesn't take a lot for me to cringe when reading a romance. A lot of the ones that I have been exposed to have just been super rushed. I prefer that slow burn style romance, and a lot of books don't take that route, which is not a problem. It's just not for me. It's funny though because in my personal experience with romance, I've definitely been more on the like, hey, can we skip that awkward getting to know each other moment and just like get to the part where we're dating and we're good, we're Gucci. And yet when it comes to books, I need more development. What's your favorite Blackpink song? Well, gosh, there's just so many to choose from. Said no one ever. But hey, we're getting the album this year. If YG actually comes through for once. Anyway, my favorite these days is Don't Know What to Do. I love the fact that it's kind of a soft bop. Like, it's pretty chill at certain points, but it also goes off at other points. You have to be college roommates with a book character. Who do you choose? I'd need a character where they would just like let me be, wouldn't interrupt me when I'm reading, and doesn't have a draining personality where I feel suffocated by them. How about Noah from the Raven Boys? That sounds good to me. I feel like he'd almost be invisible and I wouldn't notice that he was there half the time, and he'd pretty much let me be. Sounds good to me. Do you always read the acknowledgements for a book or do you skim over them? I hardly ever read them. Does that make me a bad person? But usually I have no idea who anybody is in the acknowledgements. And I'm just like, wow, good on y'all for supporting this author. Go you, woo! Even though I have no idea who any of you are. What's your favorite time of day for reading? I would say peak reading time for me is right when I wake up, but I hardly read at that time anymore. Why? Because I reach for my phone and scroll away. It's a problem. I need to get to the root of that problem and destroy it. I tend to read in the evenings, which I also really like, but I feel like it's a little bit harder to focus in the evenings. That's why I prefer reading right when I wake up. It just really sets the tone, you know? Where do you get your style inspiration from? I was not really raised in a very fashion-forward environment, so I guess I would say like Pinterest and Instagram have really been vital in me like finding my style. But I will say that these days I look to K-pop for style inspiration because they are always ahead of the curve. I will say though that I don't really feel like I have that great of style, but compared to how I dressed growing up, it is a glow up. Thank the heavens. Books you would recommend for people looking for fast-paced reads? Ooh, okay, so for like fantasy or sci-fi, I would say Legend, This Savage Song, or Illuminate. Those books all have really excellent pacing and are very visual books as well. They make it easy to picture things in your head as you're reading. And for contemporary, I would say You Should See Me in a Crown, Geekarella, and Frankly in Love. Yes, Frankly in Love. These are all really quick and readable reads, and by readable I mean that they're not like complicated to read, like they're really enjoyable the whole way through, and they're also just really solid contemporaries. Those are all the questions that I'm going to be answering today. Thank you to everybody who submitted questions over on my Instagram. Now I want to hear from you guys down below in the comments, and I want to know what your favorite time of day is for reading. Let me know in the comments down below. I post videos 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. If you like this video, be sure to go and hit that like button. If you want to see more bookish content from me, be sure to go and hit subscribe or go and hit that bell icon and you'll be notified every time I post new videos. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope your day is bright and tomorrow is brighter. Keep reading what your heart desires, and I will see you soon with a new video. Bye-o! I also just find it hard.